More people, more cars, more congestion. This week in Boomtown, as our region grows, a new study shows Columbus is right on par with other growing cities when it comes to traffic headaches. Plus, Meta announces a new workforce training program and getting some Hollywood star power to push it.
I run a foundation called MicroWorks, and I am working with Meta to launch an initiative called America's Workforce Academy.
And making a name in commercial real estate. The big builds coming to Central Ohio, and why this multi-billion-dollar firm is setting its sights on Central Ohio.
I'd say certainly within the markets we cover, Columbus is our busiest right now from an industrial perspective, at least in the Midwest.
Some big props right there. Central Ohio is booming. We all see it and we all can feel it. So here's what we uncovered this week in Boomtown. A $2 billion transformation is underway at John Glenn International Airport. What is coming soon to the new terminal so you can get to your flight faster. And also why leaders say this airport renovation is long overdue.
An airport is just a barometer of economic growth in the region.
So we are going one-on-one with the airport's new CEO a little later. And he's going to tell us where CMH is taking flight. Thanks so much for joining us for This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. Let's get to some headlines first. More jobs are coming to the west side of the capital city. Hikma Pharmaceuticals announced a $216 million investment to its Columbus plant right there on North Wilson Road. Now, this is Central Ohio's second largest manufacturer after Honda, with more than 1,200 employees and more now coming online. Hikma produces hundreds of generic medicines for hospitals, health systems, and patients nationwide. Ohio State is expanding its footprint to Pickerington. The Board of Trustees recently approved nearly $9 million for 17 acres of land that's in Fairfield County, right next to the former Wigwam property. The Wexner Medical Center leaders say that they plan to use this land for future outpatient care. And as more people move to Ohio, they will have an easier way to get their food. Look at this. Dexa, based in Dayton, just delivered its first food order by drone, a pastrami sandwich. The company partnered with New York deli-style chain All the Best for this moment in flight.
For Ohio to prosper, it's all about not losing people. And you start with reading.
Governor Mike DeWine this week joined First Lady Fran DeWine to push early learning and literacy. The DeWines say those are critical components to Ohio's broader economic and workforce strategy. Now, during that event in Cleveland this week, another major announcement from Jobs Ohio. Jobs Ohio is now investing $300 million over the next 10 years to help Ohio employers fill positions. So we're talking industries like advanced manufacturing, aerospace, and defense, also agribusiness, healthcare, even technology. Now, workforce training clearly important to any boomtown, and this week, Meta announced a new $115 million program in Columbus. It's called America's Workforce Academy. The goal is to prepare workers for jobs supporting the growth of AI data centers. Meta says you don't need a college degree or prior experience. It is a 5-week program, but the company will cover training, travel, lodging, even a daily stipend. Now, Meta is teaming up with MicroWorks Foundation for this project. And his name might sound familiar. He's the TV host of the hit series Dirty Jobs. Here's what Mike told our producer this week about the new program.
Well, my foundation emerged 18 years ago. It evolved pretty organically out of Dirty Jobs, and it exists primarily to make a more persuasive case for a few million good jobs in the skilled trades and to provide scholarships to men and women who want to pursue those opportunities. We've been doing that now for a long time. And in the course of doing that, I've come across a lot of companies in the Fortune 500 who are trying to close the skills gap in a variety of ways. I thought what Meta was doing was incredibly interesting. It's a model that I haven't seen before. So I offered to help them spread the word, and they said, let's do that.
Do you think it's kind of a short-term solution for these students, or it may lead them to another path down the line? What's your take?
Well, when it comes to construction, if you look at a project like a career, then everything is just a job. But of course, that's not really how it works. There's going to be a lot of intensity over the next 7-8 years around data centers, for sure. But there's nothing magical about the underlying skills that are being taught. These are electricians, plumbers, steam fitters, pipe fitters, welders, HVAC technicians, and the certifications that underlie all of those vocations are valuable. That's what Meta is offering for free. So if you're working on a data center project in New Albany or Bowling Green for the next couple of years or so, when that comes to an end, the work isn't over. It's just beginning. They're talking about a $10 trillion infrastructure build out over the next 10 years all over the country. So these certifications and the skills that we're talking about, they travel with you, and you're under no obligation to stay with Meta. Look, if there's a downside, I haven't seen it. I will tell you that in my world, I send kids to trade schools, thousands of them. And I'm going to send thousands more this year. But there are not enough trade schools to tackle this problem. And there's not enough workers at the moment to even fill the trade schools. So we have to get in front of all of that. And that's something that nobody really likes to talk about. But the skeptical journalist in you should look at the math as well and understand that for every 5 tradespeople who retire in Ohio, 2 replace them. 5 out, 2 in. It's been that way for almost 15 years, and it's that way all over the country. So we're dealing with a math problem, we're dealing with a retirement problem, we're dealing with stigmas and stereotypes and myths and misperceptions. Of the 3,500 people in my foundation who are graduated and working in their chosen field, most of them are making mid-6 figures. And people are surprised to hear that, but that's really your headline. These aren't jobs that are sitting around that maybe you can do because you can't do anything else. These are AI-proof 6-figure jobs, and they're wide open.
And now to this. If you have been to the John Glenn Columbus International Airport lately, you have seen all this construction, right? The frame of the new terminal finally taking shape here. And there's a new leader now in place to handle this $2 billion project before it opens in 2029. 10 TV's Kevin Landers goes one-on-one with the airport's new CEO about how your travel should be more efficient and the challenges ahead.
This is the largest airport that I have been the CEO at.
Darren Griffin's 32 years in aviation is being put to the test with the building of Columbus's new terminal.
So it's a little different when you're sitting in this seat.
We call ourselves the John Glenn International Airport, but we're far from really becoming an international airport in terms of destinations. I know you just added Puerto Rico, but what is your vision in terms of adding more international flights?
Our vision right now is pretty solely focused on Europe, that we are one of the largest markets without a nonstop to Europe. It's not a question of if we will have a nonstop to Europe, it's a question of when. We're hopeful for next year, if not next year, 2028.
Here's a look at how Columbus stacks up to similar cities our size as it pertains to flights beyond the U.S. Columbus travelers can fly to Toronto, Cancun, Montreal, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. Nashville offers more than double that amount of flights to Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Dublin, Calgary, and Reykjavik, Iceland. Kansas City Airport offers these destinations: Cancun, Jamaica, Punta Cana, and San Jose, Mexico, while Indianapolis travelers can fly to Dublin, Cancun, Punta Cana, and Cabo San Lucas.
When the new parking garage behind me is completed, it will add more than 5,000 parking spaces and eliminate the need to take a shuttle because a pedestrian walking bridge will connect you directly to the terminal.
Inside the new terminal, a single centralized entry point will guide travelers to 13 TSA checkpoints, replacing the 3 separate entry points in use today. Airport leaders say the new configuration should reduce wait times.
I would expect customers will get through this checkpoint 5 to 10 minutes.
The terminal will also better accommodate public transit, including CODA. Plans call for rapid express service from downtown and OSU to the airport.
So COTA will be dropping off customers here when this opens.
Close to the terminal, more here in the ground transportation center where the rental cars and the parking garage will be, absolutely.
Inside the new terminal will feature more than 30 new food and retail locations with an emphasis on Ohio-based businesses. More than 4,000 charging stations will help passengers stay connected. 100 EV charging stations are coming to the parking garage, 5 times more than today. A major design feature will be a large glass ceiling known as the Oculus, designed to bring in natural light to the terminal.
It's coming along great.
With opening day less than 3 years away, the airline industry could look a lot different. Spirit Airlines left the airport earlier this year after filing for bankruptcy. It was replaced by JetBlue after it left the market 16 years ago.
It's a hard industry. It's hard for them to make money.
With 25% more gates when completed, the new terminal is built to handle not only more planes, but more people. 13 million passengers a year, 5 million more than today. Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.
A lot of people traveling. Kevin, thank you. As more people take to the skies, we also know there are more people driving the roads. A new study shows Columbus is among the top 50 largest metros in the country with the worst traffic congestion. 10 TV's Amy Steigerwald looked into some of the solutions as we continue to boom.
Drivers I spoke with were not surprised to hear about this new report. However, many of the areas that are the worst for congestion across Columbus are already areas that are under construction because of massive growth over the past 5 years. As Columbus grows, so do its traffic problems.
Rush hour now starts at 2 o'clock on 315, it seems like.
A new report from Consumer Affairs ranks Columbus 39th in the nation for the worst traffic congestion, putting it right in line with other major metros like Louisville, Milwaukee, and Salt Lake City. The study says the average weekday congestion time is just under 2.5 hours, which did not shock Columbus drivers used to driving through construction zones.
I live right by the 315-70 split, so that's been pretty challenging.
Well, the exit past Wilson Road exits near Lake Hague, so if you keep going towards there to the intersection of 70 East, it has a little bit of that congestion there. But 670 has a lot of construction currently going on now.
The Ohio Department of Transportation is tackling congestion with several major projects. Many areas under construction have seen increased traffic over the past 5 years. Some of the worst spots for congestion across central Ohio right now: 33 on the southeast side, the 270-71 split on the north side, and downtown at the 70-71 interchange.
That's kind of the overarching goal of that project, is to replace our aging infrastructure as well as to reduce some of the merge and weave that you have across those two interstates.
While many of these projects are expected to bring relief once completed, some are still several years from the finish line. Until then, drivers can expect slow-moving traffic to remain a common part of the commute.
I will say the ODOT has done a good job with keeping the highways and just be able to be manageable at this point.
And the proximity of the interchanges, can definitely contribute to congestion. That's one thing that we watch here all the time.
And that I-71 southbound flyover ramp through the downtown stretch, which opened up back in December, is set to open up more lanes this coming summer, which will ease congestion through that downtown stretch as that construction continues on for another few years. I'm going to send things back to you.
So you are looking at 16 years of Van Trust Real Estate, celebrating 16 years of what the company says is a simple idea: do right by the dirt. The development firm builds a diverse range of commercial properties all across the U.S. and here in Central Ohio. Take a look at this map. These 3 locations show you where this company is making a name for itself in Central Ohio, from Bolton Field to Rickenbacker to New Albany. Each project is under a different stage of development today. So let's walk you through. The newest development is Park 762 at Rickenbacker. Van Trust will turn that farmland into a 1 million square foot spec warehouse. Then there's Bolton Field, where Van Trust is now building Bolton 2. And you can see right there in the middle, construction is expected to wrap up by January. So 2 projects right there. The third project is that massive facility in New Albany called New Albany 300. This now is fully leased and opens this month to new tenants. So I recently spoke with company leaders about why they feel so confident in the Columbus region's industrial market. And let's talk about Columbus. I am seeing more press releases about Van Trust expanding, booming, building more specs. Can you just give me an overview of how big of a footprint we're talking about right now?
Sure. So we've seen probably 3 press releases as of late. The first would be Bolton Field Building 2, New Albany 300, and Rickenbacker Park 762, which is a 1 million square foot building. So you're looking at roughly 1.6 million square feet of space coming online towards the end of this year and second part of next year.
What do you guys think is driving that demand?
I think you're seeing a strong return to fundamentals in the market, both on the supply side and certainly the demand. Tenants in the market are looking for Class A space where they can either expand their existing business in Columbus, or if they're new to the market, they can enter that market with brand new space that meets their needs for their company and their customers.
And is Ohio pretty much the hotbed of that demand right now compared to other states?
I'd say certainly within the markets we cover, Columbus is our busiest right now from an industrial perspective, at least in the Midwest.
And Anna, talk about these 3 locations. They seem quite strategic, especially when you look at where all the growth is going when we're talking about workforce, major companies, right? So you're in New Albany, of course, that area is booming. Then you're down by Rickenbacker. Of course, we know Anduril is coming there. And then Bolton Field, that's a whole nother area that is starting to grow. What is the strategy for Van Trust when you're selecting sites?
Certainly you want to see a level of investment in the area and continued growth. Access to utilities is a really big topic within our industry right now. Availability of sites and the willingness for a community to have industrial development within it. New Albany has certainly seen a ton of growth in the past few years and will continue to do so. Bryce mentioned New Albany 300, which is our most recently completed building, and then we are breaking ground on another 300,000 square foot building, New Albany 302, and that is our 11th project in the market, and it is our last land site from a 500-acre park that we started about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. So we like New Albany a lot. We'll continue to do more there, and then Bolton Field on the southwest side is maybe a less established submarket, but we're certainly seeing a lot of growth. Our first building, Bolton 1, is fully leased, and we're happy with the success of that. So excited to kick off our next building.
So when you announced, New Albany 300 and then now Park 762, do you already have clients, customers who have already signed the deal to say, yep, when that's done, I'm ready to move in?
Unfortunately, not. That is every developer's dream to have the tenant signed up as soon as possible. But that being said, we're seeing strong activity from a pre-leasing standpoint. There are a handful of tenants in the market looking at both of those projects, and we believe we'll find the right tenant for each project.
So when, just from a layman person, I would be nervous if I'm building this huge house and I don't have someone that I know that wants to move in. This speaks then to Van Trust's confidence in this market that someone's going to utilize that space in some way.
Yeah, certainly. We do this every day where we take calculated risks on our projects. We do a very robust due diligence process before we put a shovel in the ground. And we design and build these projects if we were going to hold them forever. So we build the best product we can and put it on the market, and we listen very closely to what that market wants and when, or at least we try to from a timing perspective, and we react accordingly.
So Anna, if you had a magic 8 ball, where's next?
Columbus in general is, I mean, like I said, I think our busiest market that we cover in the Midwest region, I would see continued growth in multiple areas in Columbus. The million square footer in Rickenbacker is just one of what could be 4 to 6 buildings in that park. New Albany, like I said, we will continue to do business up there as we find more ground. And so certainly those 2 areas.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add, Bryce?
No, I think she hit the nail on the head. There's no area we wouldn't look. Columbus and Central Ohio as a region is growing very quickly and rapidly. Not just from Van Trust, you're seeing projects pop up everywhere, and it's a dynamic market, and we're looking forward to continued growth.
You said something earlier. You feel like there's a return to this kind of manufacturing and this kind of industry. Do you feel like we're back on the upswing of this scale, this type of scale, or do you feel like we're at the peak of it because everything's so exciting right now?
Great question. You want to take that?
I think we're just at the beginning of it. I mean, I think 2025 as a whole was a much more active year in terms of leasing than 23 and 24, kind of that post-COVID slowdown, I'll say. Something we talk about a lot is increased activity, but a normalized amount of activity. I don't know if you're going to see the COVID boom again in the near future, but we definitely think it's just the beginning. I expect 2026 to be just as strong of a year as 2025.
All right. Fantastic. Well, great to see you both. Congratulations on the new build, Park 762. That's really exciting. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, we know growth comes with a lot of challenges and some growing pains, but as you see, a lot of solutions. So we do want to hear from you. If you have any questions related to Central Ohio's rapid growth, let us know. Simply text 614-460-3345. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. You can always drop a question right there in the comment section as well. Thanks again for watching This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. We'll see you again next week.